will run. So it's as we've previously done. I would have this session, which is welcoming all of you to today's session. And then we would have the president-elect come up for the president will come up for introductory message. After that, we would have she would introduce the chairman. The chairman will then introduce the speaker. The speaker will then give his presentation. And then we would have a panel discussion that will be moderated by the chairman. He will then introduce the panelists. After that session, we will then dive into the Q&A, detailed Q&A discussion. That will be followed by sponsors' remarks and presentation of gifts from NAPE. And then I'll come up with announcements and votes of thanks by PE. We will then close out with the lunch and networking session. I think I missed that one, which is the president's remarks. So all of that's a part of what we'll be going through this morning. So stay tuned and listen through this session, which promises to be very exciting and inspiring. Thank you, P.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our September Technical and Business Meeting. I welcome those who are here present physically and also those who are online. Thank you for making time out every month to participate in our sessions. And most importantly, I want to say a big thank you to our sponsors of today, because if you hadn't sponsored, this door wouldn't have been open for us, let alone us having lunch. Thank you very much. We appreciate you, and we believe that you continue to partner with NAPE. So I want to especially thank our fellows who are here with us. They've been online since 11 o'clock. Our Aret Adams awardee, past president of NAPE and a fellow of NAPE, Dr. Emmanuel Eno. Thank you for joining us online. Please, can we give him a round of applause? He's also the chairman of our AC. That's the AC of Advisory Council of NAPE. We also want to appreciate Mr. KK Kano, our fellow of NAPE. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us online. And our own AE, Bazwaye, our vice president of our association. Thank you. He's also a fellow. Thank you for joining. In here physically, we have our immediate past president who graciously accepted to be the chairman for today's technical meeting, Dr. Abiodun Ogunjobi. Thank you very much for joining us. Thanks to all our active members, our student members, NAPE members who have also joined this meeting here in this room and online. We appreciate you. And I want to also appreciate our president. He's not here physically with us because of some things he has to do in Port Harcourt, but thank God for technology. He's online with us here. So Mr. John Bosco Uche, thank you for joining us, presidents. We appreciate you. And I believe that we will all have good time here today. This is a departure from the usual. You all agree with me. the topic we are hearing, listening to today is a departure from the usual. But if you look at that topic, you'll know that it's something that is very necessary. So I want us to sit back, put our phone, away from us, listen attentively. And I believe that we will all gain one or two things from here today. Thank you very much once again. God bless you. I will, at this point, call our president to give us his opening speech so that we can move straight into the program. Thank you. President, over to you.
Okay. Confirm you can hear me. Confirm you can hear me loud and clear. Can you hear me in the room? Okay. I'm not sure if my voice is coming through. I believe those online will hear, but can the room confirm you can hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Okay.
We can hear you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you. All right. So let me welcome everybody to this our technical and business monthly meeting for the month of September. It has been quite a journey since the beginning of the year. I'm glad that, again, 9 months is already here in 2025. And we've made quite a good progress trying to continue to consistently share the knowledge and provide a platform to share knowledge across the industry, not just for our members, but beyond our membership base. And I think, like the PE mentioned, today is a bit adding a bit of diversity to our sharing of technical ideas, right? And because ultimately we want to be profitable, and that's why the topic we're going to be looking at today around planning and how to be profitable for what business we do in the upstream is equally important. But of course, the session provides opportunity for networking. But I just want to say a big thank you for the consistency we continue to get from our members and our associates attending these technical meetings, both online, but also physically there in the room. And what it shows is that it's a trust and you believe in our leadership to be able to drive the ambition of NAPE. And the promise I want to give you is that at the executive committee level, we'll continue to do this and continue to provide this platform. And even ultimately, as we get into the main conference, the bigger platform to share ideas and network and discuss things that will have impact, not just for our members, but for this country at large, in terms of how we produce our oil and gas in a profitable manner. So on that basis, I just want to say a big thank you again to our sponsors. And we'll continue to get new sponsors as well, which is quite good, right? So it's not, sometimes the regulars that we get. Yes, we continue to get the regulars, professional, institutional members, but also new sponsors as we're having today. I mean, look at the panelists as well, quality top panelists we're going to be having. So all I can say is just to relax again, as you typically would do, and enjoy the best moments of the session we're going to be having today. So you're welcome once more on behalf of the Executive Committee, the Advisory Council, and the BOT as we again go through our monthly and technical business for the month of September. And with that, I will yield the floor back to you in the room, PE.
Thank you very much, President, for your opening remark. At this point, I'll be introducing our chairman. I want you to appreciate our chairman for this reason, which I'm about to say. When I called him to chair today's occasion, he immediately accepted. And do you believe that he has a board meeting today? And he still came here today to chair this meeting. So let's appreciate him for that. Please, we'll do everything as fast as possible so that you can meet up with your board meeting. Thank you very much. So to his profile, Dr. Abiodun Ogunjobi FNAPE, FICA, is the Group Chief Technical Officer of Pan-Oceanic Cross Group, where he is responsible for the group's technical functions and development activities. With consistent career advancement and professional development, he advanced from the post of Geoscience Manager, where he was responsible for planning, coordinating, and implementing all asset development activities, to his current role as Group Chief Technical Officer. He has a strong background in exploration, production, reservoir management, and project planning. His expertise extends to new business development, joint venture oversight, and crisis management. Abiodun is a distinguished professional with a proven track record in steering oil and gas projects, driving growth, and optimizing operations across the value chain. His strategic leadership, technical expertise, and extensive experience make him an asset in the energy industry. Over the years, he has collaborated with business executives on alternative crude evacuation strategies, provided thought leadership and driven requirements, conducted feasibility analysis, and performed business process analysis and design, and managed implementation and service delivery. As an author and co-author, he has contributed to technical discourse through publications in journals and have been an erudite speaker and panelist in most conferences. He is a COMEX registered geologist, a certified petroleum geologist, and an Aberdeen Business School graduate, a fellow of NAPE, a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants, a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Credit Administration, and an alumnus of the Aberdeen Business School. He's a immediate past president, fellow, and a member of the Advisory Council of the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, NAPE, the largest organization of geoscientists in Nigeria, and memberships of other professional bodies. Join me as I welcome to the podium our chairman, Dr. Abiodun Ogunjobi. So he will be introducing the speaker.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I was glad to be here, and also greetings to our fellows online and a member of this great association. So today, in continuation of our knowledge sharing section, we always pride ourselves that our idea finds oil and gas. So today's section is equally very, very important and critical. The topic that we have for discussion today is very important. The PE said that is a deviation from our core geoscience topic, but this is something that we have been doing. You know, individually we do planning, but what we are going to discuss today is an holistic planning that cuts across all facets of our operation. So integrated planning is critical and it's a strategic approach to in our industry, you know, ensuring that all elements of our project are cohesively aligned to achieve a common goal. What the topic of today will be telling us is how to move from individual planning to a cohesive planning that cuts across all the stakeholders. And, you know, one of our core values is operational excellence. For you to achieve operational excellence, you need to do your project to quality, to time, and also to budget. And this is what integrated planning will also enable you to achieve, so that you don't have cost overrun, you don't have unnecessary project timeline overshot, and it enables that all necessary stakeholders that should be in a project are properly aligned. It will enhance operational efficiencies. And this is one of our core values, doing it to budget, to time, and also safety. And that is what we are going to be having today. You know, thanks to MudoZangi, that will be taking us on the integrated planning, breaking silos to build a profitable and resilient upstream industry. So today I will start by introducing the speaker. Our speaker for today is Halim Bello. is the current petroleum engineering and corporate planning domain expert at MudoZangi Limited, a global solution firm that operates in the petroleum and financial sector. Halim is a seasoned A&P professional with over 34 years of experience spanning a wide range of A&P activities, including wells and reservoir management identification and maturation of development activities and detailed 3D reservoir simulation. Halim has managed and led the development, coordination, and integration of planning processes across various entities, including SNEPCO, SNG, LLNG, Shared Gabon, and SPDC, where he retired after managing 4 different SPDC domestic gas supply projects with combined headline size of more than $2 billion. His experience in the upstream to midstream operations included managing domestic gas projects, ensuring effective project risk and value management, stakeholders engagement, budget performance, and efficient project execution. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you agree with me that our speaker for today is someone that is versatile when it comes to project planning, and he has equally led different projects himself. So he's somebody that is knowledgeable on what it takes to lead an integrated project execution strategy. So distinguished ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome Mr. Halim Bello, the petroleum engineering and corporate planning domain expert of MudoZangi, as our speaker for this morning. Ali, please. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Chairman. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. So I would like to speak to you. I think the primary objective of this session is basically for us to explore how integrated planning can improve the quality of business delivery and also in the oil and gas sector, so that we ensure that there's effective collaborations across functions. And also basically the primary objective is also to demonstrate why integrated planning can also help to remove inefficiencies in terms of integration across functions. And I think most of those key benefits of integrated planning have been highlighted by the various, by the chairman, so which I would not like to repeat. And I think I'll also indulge all of us while at the break session time, we go through all the posters. You will find that some of those key highlights, the benefits of integrations, are already summarized in those slides. So what's the purpose here? Basically, we want the business environment now is becoming very, very volatile in the sense, in terms of volatility of the business market. So the likes of the issues going on in the global center, the likes of the Russia-Ukraine war, how they impact in the oil and gas business, the issues about the recognition of the Palestinian state by the UK. These are things that will tend to influence the business environment for the oil and gas sector. So we have the likes of the Israel-Iran issues. So you know that the oil and gas sector is primarily dependent on the sales of the petroleum products. So these are the things that influence that. So for you to be very efficient and effective and profitable and resilient, you must be able to integrate your solutions, your functions. And the topic of today, which speaks about the silos, breaking the silos. So what do we mean by silos? In the oil and gas sectors, for instance, in the upstream, the silos refers to the likes of the geosciences department, the petroleum engineering, the likes of the production operations, even the commercial. So these are silos departments which have different, how will I say? So different goals. So, but overall, the goal has to align to the bottom line of the entire organization. So when you talk about the silos, even when you go to multinational companies, the silos level also move to the what we call the asset level. And even nowadays, you even have some companies where you have multi-companies. So in other words, those multi-companies are also silos. So for you to have one common achievement, you must be able to integrate across all platforms. Otherwise, you have situations where your planning business is all misaligned. So people are working across objectives. For instance, the production operations may focus more on production, while the commercial guy is looking at his commercial numbers. So you must align those two. Otherwise, you'll not be able to achieve the ultimate goal. So those are some of the essences of this. And what is integration basically? Integration planning is just, it's a culture in which you want to integrate across all functions, because all those subunits that we spoke about, petroleum engineering, production operations, maintenance, drilling. Sorry? No, you, okay. I'll tell you when is the next slide. Okay, so the next slide. Okay, okay, all right. Okay. Oh, you have to control it. I'll just say the next slide, yes. All right, so as I was saying, so integrated planning is basically aligning plans across functions. You'll find that the production operations in the upstream, for instance, have their plans in terms of delivery, well interventions, statutory inspections, and then you have the drilling guy who is going to drill the wells. His focus is to deliver those wells. He has his plan. So the question is, do you have alignment across board in terms of value additions to the organization? So this is where the integration comes in. And then in terms of why we are here today, I think I've said something about that, which is the vitality in the environment, that's the business environment, the issues that most organizations don't have unlimited fund. The fund is limited, so you need to be able to optimize the use of your CapEx and OpEx stuff. And also, we're in the era of digitalization now, transformation. So you need to have a strategic place where you can deploy that. So those are the foundations. So what we have done in MudoZangi, realizing some of those challenges in the oil and gas sector, is that we've developed a solution that will help you to annex all those funds to create an effective integrations across all the platforms. So if you, please let me go to the next slide now. So if you look at this slide, sorry, the previous slide. The previous slide, please. Yes. So if you look at this slide, this is what we talk about, the business planning windows. You'll find generally in all organizations, you have your 5-year, 10 years plan, which we call strategic plan or life cycle plan. But it is from that plan, you also deduce your short-term plan, which is maybe your business plan, your 5 years business plan. And then from your 5 years business plan, you develop, you dissect your operational plan, which is the year of interest. That is where you focus. And then from the operational plan, which is the 1-year plan, you have your quarterly plans, which is driving the execution. So what we've noticed over time is that in many organizations, you'll find the first 2 rows there has a completely different planning team that drives that, which some organizations call their corporate planning unit. And then the bottom part are those operationals, real-time, 1-month planning, 2-month planning. And you'll find that over time, there's a disconnection from the top to the bottom part, which is where you're doing the execution. So in other words, so if there are changes down the line in real time, we don't have the impact. And then when organizations want to set their plan, that's when the whole organization goes to say, okay, let's look at the numbers again. But when you now have a platform where in real time, updates are reflected, you have one single sort of truth. So you know that the decision you're taking at any point in time is the correct decisions. So what we've done is to now loop all these planning windows into one single solution, one single platform, so that from that single platform, everybody is connected within the organization across all the functions. So please let me go to the next slide. So what are those things that we found out during the course of both my experience in Shell and other clients we've worked with? There are some key issues that we've noticed. The single source of truth, what do we mean? The single source of truth is that when you have data, and I'm getting data from the well engineering person, I want to be sure that that data is correct, is validated, before I can use it in my forecast or even the commercial guys to use it. So you want a case, not where I have a data is sitting in my Excel file in my drawer, then have made an update. My colleague is not aware that there's an update. So we identified that. So I'll later demonstrate how our solution has resolved that. So there's what we call shared resources. So what do we mean? I'll give an example. In operations and the engineering facilities, you need a crane. So you'll find that if they are working in silos, the production operation guys will just order for his crane, do his job. At the same time, the engineering facility guy who is laying flow line or something, or who's about to do flow line hookup, he needs a crane. But independently, they applied for a crane. So you now have two cranes. And the question you ask yourself, would it have been possible for you to have used one just by aligning? So in other words, you can save cost, increase profitability. So we looked at the issue of siloed mentality, which I've discussed, variance analysis, version control. One of our experience in Shell was, in fact, there was a point in time, the current leader of the NNPC had to tell us in Shell that when everybody is going on leave during the summer period, all planning activities should stop. Because we've had experience, you go on vacation, you come back and you don't recognize that plan. Because somebody has done one update. Meanwhile, the data is frozen. Well, it goes up, go ahead, change the forecast, and then you come back, you've agreed, and you cannot recognize that. So which means the element of freezing version control wasn't there. Or even if it's there, it's manual. It's not automated. So we had those experiences. So interdependencies across units. An example is a case where you are drilling your well, you are laying your flow line, the flow line needs to be hooked up. You also want to manage that. You don't want to dredge your location before the rig comes in because of silting. So you want to ensure that everything is timed, everything is aligned. So you want a case when you've completed your well and the rig is still there, it moves away, your engineering guys come in, hook up the well. That thing must be aligned. Otherwise, you have a case where your flow line is ready, you are at the point of hookup, but the rig is still there. So you have to not demobilize the flow line contractors for a couple of days. And you know, to mobilize and demobilize is a job. And they cannot stay there because you pay them on a daily basis. So you must ensure that alignment between that flow line and the engineering to be spot on, plus or minus a couple of days. So to achieve that, you need an integrated solution. And you also need a platform that is common to everybody to use. So that upfront you see the alignment. And then I'll talk about the collaboration later. So the other one is different planning software. So you'll find that in some department or in some units, they probably use Excel for their planning. And then you find another unit using Microsoft projects, another person using Primavera in the same organization. So how do you unify all that to make sense out of it? So those are some of those things I will speak to later. So in trying to integrate all this into one complete solution, so we now developed what we call the flow, which has to do with initiation, formulation, consolidation, execution, and action tracker. So basically, this is to take you from that 5-10 years plan you see to the monthly plan. This is the whole essence, so that you're in the execution phase. So please let me go to the next slide. So what we've designed in this workflow is basically in the initiation phase. So you have the capacity to define the project, run the economics of the project, and do the risk analysis, do your SWOT analysis, and run the economics. So the whole essence of this is in the same platform, you have all your activities that form your business plan, but you need to have a gate because it's not all of them that you want to move to the next phase. So in other words, we introduce what we call the multi-level approval structure. So, and that is also to ensure that you have one single source of truth. So when you submit your project, depending on the department you are, it goes through an approval, your unit, for instance, if it is an organization that has a unit head, the unit head approves it, the departmental head approves it, and the divisional head. So when that happens, you know that that data is reliable and sits in the system. So you can now run all your economics on all the projects during that phase. So that way you select, based on your selection criteria to move to the next phase, you select your best portfolio. So you can see how you can increase profitability, funding, efficiency, utilizations, and other stuff. So on each phase, so when you now move from that phase of initiation to formulation, so this formulation are now the projects that you've approved, you think have met with your criteria, and sometimes not the economic decisions. It could just be political decisions for you to allow the project to move forward. So you move them to the formulation phase. In the formulation phase is basically where you now add additional information. You are not clear about this project. You want to do further breakdown of our activities. So it's at this phase now, we now bring the issue of resource allocation. So where I need certain, there's what we call the time resource allocations or material allocations. You pick from that. So you create what we call the Gantt chart to form your business plan. And then, so the formulation basically is now just maturing all those projects, taking them to a level where you can integrate them for business decisions. So the next phase is the consolidated plan. So where now you have all the plans across all the functions together. So you remember when we talk about the silos, now you've moved from that silos to integrations where everybody is on the same single platform. So you now integrate their plan. Then you have a collaborative platform where everybody sits both across the function and agree. So that's where you balance your resources, resource allocations, schedule changes, impact, interdependencies to establish all that. And then you can freeze your plan at that point in time. When you now freeze your plan, so I've moved from the full 5 year, 10 years to freezing your plan for the year of interest, year 1 or year 2. So at that point in time, you cannot define what we call the KPIs for your plan to drive execution. So that's what you see in that execution plan. And then you can track actions and also the tasks. So please let me go to the next slide. So next slide, please. So what we've done basically, so we said for everybody to be on the same platform, so you need to have a unified platform. And then you also don't want to have restrictions in terms of access to it. So not that you have somebody has to have one independent license from the other. It's completely role-based, so everybody logs in. So, and if you see this graph now, this chart here, the chart to the bottom shows the business planning overview, the number of activities per function or by silos, the former silos. You see the number of activities they brought into this business plan. And then if you check the column to the left, to extreme left, so you see the various units, the initiation, the formulation, the executions, the login tracker. So when you move to that phase where you come to execution, you now see that we talked about things of medium time activity plan, short-term activity plan. So these are details. So these are executions. So this gives you an overview of the platform. So go to the next slide, please. So next slide. So I've spoken about the economics. So every of your projects has its economic value. And you've also defined the economic criteria to move it to the next stage. So in the same single platform, you do your economic analysis. So at least you have a clear view of everything. The assumptions are considered across, not asset A is using another improved economic parameters, while asset B contesting for the same capex. So you find that, so you can't do that because you have a unified platform. So if you go to the next slide. So you also have the opportunity to do risk analysis for each of those projects. So independently, all the silos bringing the project, you define your risk, you carry out your risk analysis, your SWOT analysis, and then you can also aggregate all that. So the corporate planner who usually will have just gone around, struggle to collate all this stuff. As the independent people are doing that, the system is rolling up for you to review. So in other words, you can use your time for quality scenario analysis, doing so many things instead of trying to pull data together or misaligned data and trying to align them. So you have a dashboard that shows you a summary of that, both at this business planning level, both at the execution level, and also during action tracking. So if you go to the next slide, please. This is also a continuation of the the next slide. Please go to the next slide. So I've spoken about to ensure that you have one single source of truth, which is why we design what we call the multi-level approval system, so that when Department A sees the data, he believes in the data. So we've had case while I was in Shell where data are not approved, assumptions are not approved. And then you come to a meeting and they say, well, what's your source of data? I say, I got it from there. I say, no, I can't recognize this number. There was no documentation that this data was approved. So we now it led to a point where we are doing manual approval of documents. So because I was as a corporate planner, those are one of those things we struggle with. So we build plan and people just say, sorry, I don't recognize the plan. There's no evidence. So we had manual approval of assumptions, things like that. Forecast has to be approved by the head. These are all done manually. So with this now, you know that every data has control. And along the line, when you now decide to make a change, you're allowed to make a change. But then whether that change has an impact on other decisions that have been made. So there has to be a change control. So you're allowed to make changes, but the impact will be obvious, unlike where in the silos, you make that change, but you don't know whether there's a consequential impact on some other functions. So that has been limited in this case. So, and with this, again, you can also see the project activities that have been approved, and you can also track where the status is, whether it's in the level 1 approval or the second approval or the third. And anyone that declined that goes back to the initiator of the project. So let me go to the next slide. So the next slide. So I've spoken about shared resources. There's time resources and also material resources. So material resources, for instance, you talk about the cranes. So those are the things, so you must be able to draw from that. And when we talk of time resources, we're talking of personnel, humans. So the operational teams, how many operational teams you need and all that stuff. So that forms those resources. So which means when you are doing your plan, you already specify those specific resources you need. So in other words, when you finish that plan, sometimes, you know, you go to the logistic department, oh, I need a boat, I need to go to the field. So that's all completely misaligned. Meanwhile, you can improve efficiency, improve everything by aligning all that short, considering the insecurity. You want to have a controlled and scheduled logistic operations. So you can pull that from the business plan. But when you do the business plan, you don't have a clear picture of what the resources are. Because at that level, you're not even talking of resources, but it is when you come to the bottom line. And then when you now see that those resources are not available, there's a consequential impact on your long-term plan. So you need to adjust that or take decisions whether you need to free it up. So let me go to the next slide. So I've spoken about how the various silos could have different planning solutions. So the likes of Excel, Microsoft, and Primavera. So at this platform now, you can bring in all those plans. So in other words, you have 4 solutions. One is that you put it directly into the solution. Then the next one is either you bring it from Excel. In other words, so the purpose of this for you to now have one single platform where you can integrate across all the functional departments within the upstream or downstream, depending on where you operate. So let me go to the next slide. So the next slide basically shows the benefits of integrating across. You have efficient use of resources. You have efficient use of funding. You also ensure that there's no misalignment across all the functions. So you have a common goal, common aspiration. Some of the downside of this lack of integration is far that you don't have efficient use of your resources or even your CapEx. You don't have those things. So, and then you'll find that your plan cannot respond to changes in the business market. For instance, if there are issues, you don't know the impact on your plan. You might just think it's just one section of the plan, but it's the entire plan that could fall apart. But when you have an integrated solution, you also have a platform that brings everybody together, one single sort of truth. You're able to, so it improves your resilience to respond to changes in the business market. So let me go to the next slide. So the next slide. So now one benefit of what we talk about the collaborative environments. Again, this is all about integrated planning. So now you have the various departments all sitting together in one common room. Now at this point, you're at execution phase. So there are certain conditions that must be in place before you drill a well, for instance. So certain requirements. So at that meeting, you are asking, so what's the status of this? And in real time, you can put in the comment there that these are the issues. I promise you the data will be ready the following next week or something. And if you already have a governance structure where you hold bi-weekly meeting or monthly meeting to review your plan, so which means at that meeting, everybody comes with the data. And if you've said, okay, this, for instance, you need a permit, your EIA permit, is it available? Then there must be evidence-based. That data must be sitting somewhere where they can verify. So even though you've turned your readiness to green, but there must be evidence that it's true, it's truly green. Not that you assume everything is green and you come to the point you want to drill your well, you don't have the permit, you don't have your well proposals, nothing. So that collaborative environment allows you to have that integration during that meeting. And then the actions that come from there, you can track those actions because it's important, because experience has shown that when we leave those meetings, we take actions. 1 or 2 weeks down the line, we start wondering, what was the action again? Who is supposed to close this action? It was not assigned to anybody. We just say, okay, oh, this action, oh, it's for production operations. We assume somebody in production operation will see it, no? So with this, you can put a name to it directly. And that person, when he logs, he will see his action, his tax. So it's clear. So those are the essence. So it's a very powerful, because one of the ways to achieve best integrated planning is that collaborative environment where everybody sits together, you look at the solutions together, you do your work and agree and freeze the data and move forward. So let me go to the next slide. So this is where I talked about the action tracker. So each person that was assigned from that collaborative environment where everybody agreed tasks and target, you assign your target, you can track it yourself. And then the corporate planner can have a holistic view of all the actions. And then when those actions are closed, you provide the evidence, where evidence are required. And then also you have what we call the knowledge base, where you can actually put all the available document that buttresses all your decisions in that place so that it's accessible to everybody. So let me go to the next slide, please. So this is an example of the resource allocation that I talked about, both time allocations and material allocations. So if you look at the red bar in the one under the time allocation, it just shows that you are requesting more resources than is available. So the question is, so what do you need to do about that? Do you want to move your requests or do you want to add additional? You can take such decisions. And those decisions can be taken at high level. So the data is there, you see it in real time. And then in terms of material resources, so if somebody has requested for, you have in your pool, there's what we call the corporate resource balance accounts where you know what you have. So you pick when you are planning. So you aggregate all that. You now see where there's an over request or under request. So you do that so you can manage that. So then Let me go to the next slide. So probably might be my last slide. So based on, we've moved successfully from the business planning, life cycle planning to execution mode. So now you've set your KPI for the entire, for the operational plan for the year of interest. So you can also track that in real time, because when you hold your monthly meeting or your weekly meeting or your quarterly meeting, all those updates are reflected in real time. So the consequence, so the leadership upfront can see where there's a shortfall. And then the question you ask, okay, so what are the plans? Do we just fold our hands or do we do something? How can we improve the production? So all those data are there. So in real time, you see all those things. So in summary, and I think that's my last slide. So integration, what are the key benefits of integration? One is effective utilization of resources, profitability in terms of ensuring that you don't have a cost overrun. So cost overrun is a case where you plan and then there's a misalignment, you are forced to come back to replan and then you've lost time. So you improve efficiency. And in terms of resilience, so you find that you can respond to any volatility, any issues in the business market in real time. So, and I think this will basically be what we call the takeaway from this whole exercise. So thank you, and I appreciate that you were able to listen to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Speaker, for that excellent presentation. You can kind of come up. So we are now at the panel session phase. So I will introduce our panelists. And we have Mr. Oladipo Ashafa. Thank you for coming. Please, Chairman, is not feeling too well. But because initially someone from their office came to tell me that he won't be able to come, I just saw him now. So he said he will manage. Thank you. It's the love you have for NAPI that still made you show up. Thank you very much. So Oladipo is a seasoned energy management executive with nearly 2 decades of experience spanning upstream and midstream operations across Africa, Europe, and North America. He currently serves as the Vice President of Operations and Asset Management at Chapel Energies, where he leads strategic initiatives to optimize performance and drive sustainable growth. Prior to joining Chapel Energies, Dipo had held several pivotal roles at Shell, including asset development and subsurface manager for Shell Petroleum Development Companies, Western and shallow water assets, overseeing production of about 100,000 barrels of oil per day and about 100 million scf of gas across 20 fields. His global experience includes leadership position in The Hague, where he served as strategic business advisor, global digital business opportunity manager, and planning and performance manager for Shell Nigeria Deepwater. Dipo began his career as a reservoir engineer in Oklahoma and has since held technical and leadership roles at Mobil Producing Nigeria and First Exploration and Petroleum Development Company. He's an alumnus of the University of Oklahoma, Elliott University, holding degrees in petroleum engineering. With a track record of delivering results through innovation, collaboration, and deep technical insight, Dipo brings a global perspective and strategic vision to the energy conversation. He's an active member of the Society of Petroleum Engineers and has recently been appointed to the SPE International Business and Leadership Forum and the SPE African Technical Committee. Please join me to invite Dikbo to the podium. Thank you very much. And next is Faith, who is, I think she's now the second female panelist this year. Please give her a round of applause. So Faith is an international business development expert who started a background from the Department of Petroleum Resources with 18 years of experience in the oil and gas corporate administration. She has positioned over 12 energy servicing companies in Nigeria. In 2020, she founded Gov Energy, a leading oil and gas exploration and engineering service company with international presence. She has BSc in public administration from the University of Lagos, an MBA in international business, Nesford University, USA, certified business executive who has led a team on several projects in geosciences and asset management services across the Niger Delta Basin. She's passionate about sustainability practices and actively partnership with international NGOs and the Nigerian government. Can you please join me to welcome Faith to the podium? So you all agree with me that given the CVs, profiles of all the speakers today, you see that we'll have a very strong team on this panel. Let's listen to them as they discuss, and we move later into question and answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam P. Please let us give our speaker and panelists another round of applause, please. So, having an integrated plan is not a mere procedural thing. It is a very fundamental driver for a successful project. And like I said at the beginning, we do planning. And I think the speaker also alluded to that. We do planning individually, on every project that we are executing. And also we touch base across the board, getting input from all stakeholders. However, what the presenter has given to us today is how all of this can be integrated on one platform where everybody have an handshake. Integrated planning will enable us to minimize reworking, right? And it also gives us a picture of the impact of changes in one variable on other dependencies. And when we have to make a decision, it also gives us the opportunity to recognize the impact of our changes on other dependencies. So what the presenter has done, I will try to summarize, is a presentation, but in a dynamic and volatile oil and gas industry like ours, when sometimes we make real-time decisions, it is important for us to have an holistic view of the impact of our decision on other dependencies. And I think that is what the presenter has tried to do this morning. So I will just try to give an overview of the thoughts, and I will allow my erudite panelists to give their own perspective on the importance of integrated planning and the peril of silos operation. Because one thing we try to do in this industry is to ensure that we carry out our project to time, make sure it's done safely, and at the same time, it's also have to be to cost. And all of these has to do with our planning. So my panelists will give their own perception to it. So the speaker, took us through the various silos department that we may have when it comes to our E&P business, whether in exploration, petroleum engineering, commercials, and he alluded to the fact that all of these departments have goals. However, it is important that those goals align to the corporate goals. And the only way it can align to the corporate goals is by integrating those goals together. So integration is what it is about alignment, and that's what integrated planning is all about. So he also explained to us why we need this. We don't have unlimited funds, and every project has a budget. So we need to work those projects to the budget. So for us not to have cost overrun, for us not to have variation in budget, and for us not to have unended schedule, we need to integrate our plans. Technology is advancing every day. Now we have platform where we can bring all of this together. So it is important that we do that. Then secondly, is talk about integrated planning cycles. Every organization, we have a long term, we do mid-term, we also do short term. So what the presenter has done today is to also let us know that those plans, we can also cascade them down to daily objectives. So we move from long term to mid-term to short term to a monthly deliverables, weekly deliverables, and also daily deliverables. So in the integrated planning cycle, we'll be able to achieve this, cascading down to a daily deliverables to meet the overall long-term or mid-term. Then under the integrated landscape, we talk about the integrated landscape. There is a corporate KPI, where we can also have management adjustment and planning premises. So what is the presenter tried to explain to us that under each of these columns, there are key deliverables. Whether it's single source of truth, that is important at the beginning of the project, at the initialization stage, the data across must be uniform and should be able to speak to the goals of that project. Then we move to integrated workflow. This is where the core of the job is done. From the initiation process to the formulation stage, to the consolidation stage, to the execution stage and action trackers. And each of these have their own dependencies, and it can be easily monitored across the various value chain. So what the presenter tried to do here is that under this integrated planning workflow, we should be able to cascade the KPI to every functional unit and individual in the business so that everybody is on the same page. Then it talks about the unified planning platform. This is the platform where everyone sees what is going on across the value chain. Then it talks about project economies. We do that often. We run our risk, and we also conduct our SWOT analysis. But all of these can be done on the same platform where everybody have an overview of the entire project. Then it also speak on the multi-level approval system. And the good thing about this is that sometimes in project execution, approvals might have been given, and for one dependency to move forward, but sometimes you don't know until you ask. It happens very well until you ask. But when you are on the same platform where multi-level approvals are given, the moment that approval is issued, is known to everybody. So the time gap for you to be sourcing for approval is eliminated. Then you talk about shared resources, personnel, materials. The essence of all of this is that you don't overload your project with unnecessary resources and you don't underload. So by optimizing your resource allocation, you'll be able to execute your project to time. Then it talks about aggregation of plans. You can bring your project plans for Microsoft projects or any other platform that you are using into this platform. Evidence-based collaboration window is important for us stakeholders to have a view of the project. Then it talks about the action trackers and the resource tracker. Now, these are good for decision making. So when there are action items and resource items, the respective individual that are concerned will be able to view this effectively. So, and lastly, it shows us a scorecard. And I think that is very important for the executive and the leadership to be able to view and make an informed decision. So you see that this is not totally different or definition for what we are doing. It's all about bringing everything together under a single platform to reduce time, reduce costs, and increase our operational efficiency. So I will, first of all, allow my panelists to give their own perspective on the strategic importance of integrated planning in our A&P business. So let me start with Deepo. So what would you think the strategic importance of adopting an integrated planning? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to the NAPE community for inviting me to participate in this panel. I'm truly honored. Now, in terms of the role of integrated planning, most organizations operate in a functional role. Right? I've seen very few operate in an asset-based role where there's one chief and everybody is inside that same room. Most of the time, it's you have a CFO line, you have a chief petroleum engineer, you have your project director down. And what tends to happen is if you leave each function to plan for each function, you won't find the integration. You find the budgets are unrealistic. You find the interdependencies are not known. And quite often when you get to the point of delivery and you scratch the KPIs, you find that they're all red. So in my view, you can't get away without having an integrated planning organization. I feel it's a team, it's a community, but it's also a process. You need data that speaks to everything. Then, like what Mr. Bello has shown, you need systems that can organize that data across. And those systems need to be able to flag for data accuracy or inaccuracies. I need to be able to flag for performance because performance and planning are brother and sister. Without parking and saying that you can't get around, there's no organization that has a strategy and ambition, a plan that they want to deliver that doesn't have an integrated planning outfit. It won't work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for you. So the key message is that we need to move away from functional planning to an integrated plan. Now, for that to be achieved, it talks about something, having the right set of data. So, and the speaker also talk about single truth. So you need to have the right set of data. And what I will also shape here is that most of the time, we focus more on structured data, which is good. Most of our decision projects are based on structured data. But don't forget that there are some unstructured data that can also impact on your project deliverables. Take, for instance, getting your regulatory approvals. Normally, these are outside our control, is an unstructured data, but you need to fund them in. Your community FTOs, they are unstructured data, but they have impact on your operation. So what he's saying is that we need to get all the basics right. The information, how we integrate both structured and unstructured data for us to have a successful project delivery. So let me go to Faith. So let's hear your perspective on this integration of plan.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor, and thank you, NAPE, for what we are doing. When we talk about integrated planning, we begin to understand that it's more like a holistic approach. We can run our day-to-day activities, whether as a producing oil and gas producing company or even a service company. I like the fact you mentioned we'll look at the external factors, which has to do with regulation. We all know about the proposed PIA amendment. When that comes to fruition, it is going to affect most of our activities. So when we talk about integrated planning, we consider regulatory framework and policies which will be impacted along the line. And also we look at human capital, our choice of manpower, our choice of workforce, the skills and their competency. On the long run, it will affect our sustainability strategies and how much we want to deliver on our jobs. Third, we'll look at risk assessment. When it comes to oil and gas business in the upstream, we have so many unforeseen risks. It ranges from hazard to human error and other unforeseen risks. So we begin to find ways to shift this risk, either to shift it into insurance or to have maybe local or international contractual agreement to manage this risk. We also look at technology and data. What kind of technology, what kind of data are we using? We have the new technologies now, the AI-driven data and automation that can help us process our data, manage errors, and also protect our information. We have some of the IOCs, both in Doha and other parts of the Middle East, using these AI automatons to regulate all their works. And again, we begin to look at capital investment. Finance is a major, is a tool when it comes to oil and gas business. When we look into the financial aspect of our business, we understand that we have to have a proper framework towards financial sustainability and its impacts, both long and short-term impacts in our organization. So those are the major factors that can really impact or promote our integrated planning in the upstream sector. Thank you.
Thank you. So the thoughts are aligning, she talk about human resources, she talk about data, and it's about integration. One thing that we always strive to achieve in our A&P business, or among things that we always try to achieve in our A&P business, is to avoid cost overrun and schedules overrun. Cost overrun and schedule overrun. And we can only do it when we have a proper integration of all our activities to avoid duplication, right? To avoid duplication so that we have synergy across the board. And I know I'm going to ask the speaker to speak. One of the perils of functional group system is that most of the time we make decisions that is to the benefit of our function, but may be detrimental to other dependencies. But when you are in an integrated system, decision-making will be such that will not only be beneficial to your functional group, but also be made to be beneficial to other groups across the thing. So let me ask Halim, what do you think are the perils, other perils, of non-integrated plans?
I think some of the major shortfall in such cases is, which again, I just echo what you've said in terms of cost overrun. So inefficiency in capital utilization. So, but one other good point is when we're talking of integration, we also need to move beyond the structured data. So which is just to echo what he said, the unstructured data, they are very important. And if you remember one of those slides which I showed, that shows the readiness, the collaboration platform, that is where the unstructured data comes in. So where you provide evidence of your readiness. So, and all those unstructured data which are permits, readiness of the permits, you have an FDP in place, is the location ready, you have location permit, you have right of way permit, all those things which are unstructured, your security plan, your community engagement strategy, are they all in place? These are unstructured, they are required. Without them, you cannot deliver. So in summary, integration translates into profitability, it translates into resilience of your plan so that you can respond to the market environment. It allows you to be cost efficient. So to be cost efficient and also proper utilization of resources. So thank you.
Thank you. Round of applause for him. So I think at this point, we'll go to the floor and also online for Q&A. So let's just raise your hand, introduce yourself, your affiliations, and you ask your question. Thank you. Okay, can we use one of these?
Good afternoon. Lieutenant Williamson from Nigerian Navy. Thank you, Dr. Halim Bello, for an excellent presentation. I say you did justice to the topic, integrated planning. My question is, how does integrated planning help an organization or industry to insulate itself or better handle geopolitical shocks and market volatility? I had a second question on the interoperability of the unified platform. I think the chairman said that you can actually bring in existing plans from other project management software. So thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for that question. So in terms of how you respond to the volatility of the business environment is the fact that you must have a plan that can respond. So for instance, so the issues, the global insecurity, there's a shortfall in production, the shortfall in terms of pricing. So you want to respond, you want to tweak your plan because you've made promises to your shareholders. So how do you optimize to ensure that you still satisfy the shareholders? So this is where integrated planning comes in. You're able to go to your plan, switch it, and respond. So it increases the resilience for you. So that's to your first question. Then the second question is how to integrate other existing plan. So I give an example. So if in your silos or in your various departments, you still have some planning tools, you have built your plan. So you can absorb it because you need to integrate with other people. And this is where you can have one platform that can bring in whatever form that planning is. Maybe it's in the Excel form, maybe it's in a Microsoft form, or it's in Primavera form. Or if you don't have it, you can also do it in the system there. So that you have all those data there. Everybody is from the same platform, speaking the same thing, and then you integrate from that point. So that's the essence. So you may still maintain your solution, but when it comes to that platform, that collaborative window, you come in, your data is pulled in. So I hope that clears it. All right, thank you.
Next question.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Anthony Ofoma. Sorry, I didn't start with you guys when you started this presentation. When you say integrated planning, is it that there's a tool you have for this? Do you have a software for it, or you're just talking generally about integrated planning?
So basically, it's for us to have a conversation on the benefits of integration, and also now speak that there are solutions, enterprise solutions, that enables that integration to happen.
Okay, so it's not like you have a tool.
So it's not a tool, it's a solution platform.
Okay, you have a solution platform. Fine, that's what I want to know. So you guys have a solution platform that one can latch onto, but it's paid for, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now go ahead.
Good morning, good afternoon now. My name is Obid Naukoli. Very interesting, but someone mentioned something about AI, the use of AI. Do you have an AI engine, or are you AI ready, or you have an AI engine sitting on top of your platform?
Excellent. So those are basically our key next steps. So the platform, the solution is in the form. For instance, I told you about the unstructured data, evidence-based. So you move all those information into the knowledge base. So by the time our system is AI generative readiness, so you can, because you don't want to use AI pulling data from somewhere, you may want to even limit it to your organization. So that database can be used for your AI analysis. You build your plan, you know the downside of your plan, you know the issues why you couldn't meet up your plan, the various challenges that are in the system. So with repeated planning cycle, you're able to reflect and tune it. Yes. So it's part of our key next steps.
Sorry, just to buttress more, the integrated platform, is it cloud-based or?
It's cloud-based.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Julius.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Sharma, thank you for recognizing me. I've been raising my hand up to ask my own question as well. Okay, so my name is Julius Adesun. I work for New Cross Panocean. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for a detailed workflow on integrated planning. So I would like you to clarify on data privacy and control. Yeah, this is a solution, right? So I'd like you to speak to that. And good enough, this solution has also demonstrated effective communication among team members, right? And someone mentioned about human capital. So being a solution, how do you come in to ensure all of the team members are familiar with this solution end to end? And then lastly, what is your take about organizational culture when it comes to integrated planning using your solution? Thank you.
All right, thanks for that. So the first question has to do, we're talking about the security. So there are two approaches to it. So when the solution is deployed to your organization, you can decide to use it within the organization where you take full responsibility for the security. Then the second one is the AWS, where is Amazon-based. So we believe that the security is sufficient. And one of the clients where we deployed it to, they've challenged it, they brought external consultant to test the resilience of it. They've confirmed that it's doable, it's secured. So, but my IT guys are not here to probably expand further on that. Okay. So the second one, okay, the last one, you talked about the organizational readiness. So for it to be successful, so the leadership, the executive leadership is non-negotiable to support the solution. So it is with that you can only achieve that. And then the culture itself, because in an organization where you don't have a structured planning process, so you either have to change that system or develop a workflow for them, otherwise it will fail. So you need a structured system, a structured plan. And what we do when we want to deploy, we just come to your organization, do the scouting of the organization, identify the gap areas, and propose to you. Yeah. So the second question, you're talking, sorry, human capital. Okay, good. So now the solution is role-based. So for instance, now the production operations guy He doesn't have to see what the well engineering guy is doing in terms of putting his data. So he comes to the platform, he sees his page. He puts it in data, so you can train him, you understand? So he doesn't see a complex platform, he sees a simple platform. But it's in the integration, the corporate planner is what sees the entire store. So even though at that collaboration forum, the operation guy is there, but he's in the integration. You understand? And that collaboration is happening, questions are being asked, your contribution to certain deliveries, that's how it's happening. So in other words, it's structured so that you are not overwhelmed by the solution. You don't want to see what the geosciences is putting there or the commercial guys. So that's how it works.
Thank you. Any other question? Any question online?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take this, then we'll check if we have question online.
Yeah, good afternoon, Speaker. Thank you for that detailed presentation. My name is Okechukwu Chijoke. I work for Chaparral. My first question, someone have asked about the AI into your solution, but my next question will be a general question in integrated planning. I want to assume, let's assume that we have a plan term for a facility and we've allocated resources and funds, and the project scoping has been freezed, but an incident happened, probably a fire outbreak towards the time when we have already freezed our budget and resources. And then this is an organization that is running a lean budget and lean fund. In this case, what will you do? The accident break up, there is a time where the fire accident comes from, it was not part of the scope, but we already freeze our scope. How do you manage this situation in integrated planning? Thank you.
So there are two elements. Thank you for that questions. There are two strategies normally we deploy. So that activity that will come to intervene in that particular new activity, you can bring it into the plan. So those are the things we call the emergent activities. So you bring it into the plan and integrate with the existing plans you have. Yeah. So when you do that, you also see the impact of that fire incident. Is whether there's a consequential impact on the delivery of certain activities. For instance, you want to embark on shutdown operations. You've planned that the shutdown will happen in a week's time or in 2 months' time. You've integrated all your plan, it happens. So you are able to ask yourself, should we still maintain that schedule of the shutdown or do we adjust? So again, now you're balancing production, you're balancing costs, you're balancing schedules. So you have that flexibility. So those are the things when you integrate, you can respond. You are resilient to changes.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have any question online? Okay, let's have it.
Okay, we have 2 questions. The first one is from Ibrahim Omar. His question is, one of the panelists talk about PIA. So how best integration planning, most especially between the academia and industry, looking at the oil and gas mining industry needs with respect to integrated planning?
I think it was Faye that talked about, you want to take that? All right.
So when we look at that PIA amendment I spoke about, is an external factor. When you run your pestle analysis, we have SWOT and pestle analysis, you know how to incorporate those unforeseen changes that has a lot to do with regulatory compliance and policies. Whether you're working in the industry as an academia or an engineer or whatever you are offering in the industry, you should read through the PIA and understand the adjustment and how you can come in. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have the second one, please?
Yes, from Samsudin Alade. Thank you, panelists. This is my second time joining webinar on independent planning. Thank you, MudoZangi, once again for going through this route. It has become a norm in project executions in Nigeria to experience execution time lag due to poor integrated planning. How can we make profit-oriented organizations believe in integrated planning and transition gradually from conventional function planning? Case study, even the best ERPs, some organizations are yet to latch on.
All right, thanks. Let me make an attempt on that. So integrated planning is not that the functions will not make their plans. So, but what we are saying is that you make your plan, but you should be able to integrate across so that you achieve a common objective. So your objectives, your goals are aligned. So because when you allow them to operate in that silos, they only see their space. They don't see the bulk picture, the overall picture of the organization. So there might be a misalignment. So the functional planning will go ahead, but with the knowledge that you interface, you have a relationship with other functions, with other silos. So you're not standalone. I don't know whether that captures it.
Okay, thank you. So haven't gone to elect Dipo. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry to jump in. I think on the culture piece, because I've heard that in this question and another, I think the first is the tone has to be set from the top. So if the organization says in 5 years, I want to be a $5 billion company, I want to have production at X, well, you can then start to translate it into different functional things, right? So if you want to add 10,000 barrels of production, petroleum engineers will figure out where it, or the geologists will figure out where it is, the production engineers will figure out how to get it out of the ground, the drilling engineers also come into the piece. So everyone has a functional plan, but it comes from that tone that's been set. And that's where the integrated planner comes in, to look at all the activities and say, first, does it align with the company's ambition? And then we used to have this thing in Shell, stress test. Is it a credible plan? Is it an affordable plan? Is it a competitive plan? So when you stress, is it a credible plan? You say you want to drill 15 wells in 2 weeks. You test whether it's credible or not. Probably not. Is it affordable? If all you have is $300 in your account and you want to drill those 10 wells, it's not affordable. And then if you want to drill those wells and your invoices come, one well onshore costs $4 billion, you know, it's not competitive because you benchmark it across. So I think the value of the functional organizations is that they latch onto the ambition, and then the value of integrated planning is to stress test and try and align the plans accordingly. So you need functional planning. It will never go away, but you need integrated planning to put together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we can all say that having an integrated plan is an indispensable process in a volatile E&P business like ours. It's not just about improving project efficiency, it's also foster a culture of collaboration, because you have people working together and we break the barrier of that silo mentality. So it is something that is not going to drop or discard our functional goals, but it's about aligning across the house so that our functional goals, tie into the corporate goals. So I would like to take a closing remark. Let's start from Faith. I will listen to all the questions, and if you have any aspects that you'd like to touch, just a closing remark from you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. I want to throw a little more light to the question the young man asked about hazard, unforeseen circumstances. You know, I mentioned about risk assessment. Every company has a risk assessment mechanism they use to manage risk, whether the ones you walk into or the ones you don't see ahead of time. So during your risk assessment, maybe you start shifting risk into insurance, or there are contractual agreements from international investors or local insurance companies that want to take on that risk. Yes, that will help a lot. And apart from that, the most factor that affects upstream activities in Nigeria, oil and gas industry in Nigeria, has a lot to do with regulatory framework, government policies. The dynamics can change at any time. And I also encourage organizations to get ready for those changes, those external factors that we cannot see coming. It can come at us at any time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dipo, 60 seconds.
Okay, it's just advocacy for planning. Planning is, as you can tell, probably one of my favorite roles that I've ever had. And it's to advocate that planning belongs at the top of the house. Right? So planning belongs in the office of the managing director or chairman, because if you're going to integrate across, if you're going to get the one version of the tool, if you're going to really highlight the KPIs green and red, it has to be placed at the point of the organization where you're empowered to challenge everyone. And you have to sort that out before you bring in the applications. If you bring in the application where you haven't sorted out the structure and the culture, then it's like a simulation model, garbage in, garbage out. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So in summary, in a volatile A&P business like ours, lack of integrated planning can be detrimental to the overall project goals. And it can also erode the company profitability. There is a very slight margin in our profit and loss. So if we are not very careful integrating our process and we allow costs to overrun, not only are we not going to be market competitive, we will also be running at a loss, and it's also going to affect the bottom line of the company. So we need to save costs. Projects need to be executed to time, and projects need to be executed safely. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we draw the curtain on today's session.
Let's give them a round of applause again. This has been an enriching presentation. You know, when we say that we have technical and business meeting on a monthly basis, this is one of such. You can't have business and you don't, you know, if you don't plan, you can't succeed in it, and there won't be sustainability. So collaboration is very key. Thank you very much. Oh, you can come back, sir. Come back. Then we'll still, after presenting the gift, I'll call the person, the CFO of our sponsor, to join us in having the picture before you leave. So at this point, I will invite Mr. Olise Amudo, CFO, MudoZangi. Please come up to make your sponsor's remark quickly. But before then, we'll have a picture, we'll take a picture before you come up for your short speech. So while it's coming up, let me just appreciate some of our fellows that are here with us. We have Mr. Mascot Ogunjemiyo. Thank you for joining us. We also have Dr. Anthony Ufoma, FNAPE. Thank you for joining. And earlier, I announced that we had Dr. Kanu online. You see, all these are our old members. The way they take this NAPE thing sometimes makes us, the young one, to feel like, oh, we have no choice but to continue. So it was online, but he has joined us physically. Thank you very much, Dr. Kanu. We also have online Mr. Folorunso Karim, FNAPE. Thank you for joining us. So let's have the picture with the panelists before you make your speech. Thank you very much.
Hello? Great nations are not remembered for the promises they made, but for the standards they chose to live by. Ladies and gentlemen, the question before us is simple. What standard will Nigeria choose? Nigeria is a land of tremendous promise. Everywhere you look, you see resilience, creativity, and determination. And yet, we all know the frustrations of roads that crack, power that fails, and chances that slip away. But here's the truth. Nigeria is not broken beyond repair. Nigeria is simply waiting for us, the people, to rise to the occasion. You see, a nation is not defined by its borders or its anthem. It is defined by its people, by the standards we choose to accept or reject. When we choose integrity, we lift Nigeria. When we choose excellence, we strengthen her. And when we unite with purpose, nothing can stop her rise. We already have proof of this and what is possible. Across the world, Nigerians are thriving. Professors at top universities, CEOs of global firms, leaders in medicine, engineering, and technology. This tells us something simple but powerful. We do not lack talent. We do not lack courage. We do not lack brilliance. So here's the controversial question. If we excel abroad, why do we stumble at home? The difference is not in our DNA, it is in our standards. It is in our willingness to cut corners and to eagerly compromise. Ladies and gentlemen, a great nation can never be built by accepting mediocrity. It is built on demanding excellence from ourselves and demanding accountability from each other. Because a nation's strength is not built on laws or speeches. It is built on satisfying the quiet debts we owe to one another, debts of integrity, debts of accountability, debts of excellence, debts many of us don't even realize we owe. And here's the truth. Laws may guide a nation, but it is people who make it rise. Elsewhere, excellence is the rule. Here, mediocrity is excused, but that story can change, and it begins with us. The need for change is most urgent in our oil and gas sector, the very backbone of our economy. Consider this, it costs Nigeria about $30 to lift a barrel of oil. Saudi Arabia does the same thing for about 10. That gap is not just a statistic, it is the difference between being competitive and being left behind. Every inefficiency in our sector hides in the gaps between one team and another, between one system and the next, between what we plan and what we execute. Every gap creates loss, and integration is how we close them. Integration is the difference between reaction and foresight, between scrambling and leading. The inefficiencies we tolerate are not small mistakes, they are silent taxes on our future. We cannot outproduce waste, we must eliminate it. Ladies and gentlemen, the truth is simple. Technology is not optional, it is survival. Because technology is not just about computers or screens. It is the force that sharpens our operations. It is the fire that burns away waste. It is the light that brings clarity and transparency. And it is the mirror that forces accountability at every level. This is not about keeping up, it is about stepping up. You see, true resilience is not about working harder. It is about building systems that bend without breaking, that adapt instantly when markets shift, when a well underperforms, when supply chains falter. That kind of resilience is not born of chance, it is created. It lives where strategy, operations, and finance move as one, aligned in real time, united by a single source of truth. And that alignment, that integrated planning we so urgently need, can only be achieved through technology. Without it, volatility wins. With it, resilience becomes our strength, our shield, our advantage. And make no mistake, we cannot outproduce inefficiency. Every duplicated effort, every delayed approval, every disconnected forecast adds silent cost to each and every barrel. Costs that only execution excellence can eliminate. When decisions flow seamlessly from the boardroom to our oil fields, profitability stops being an aspiration, it becomes the default. And let us be clear, the future of this industry and of Nigeria will not be written by those who cling to waste and obscurity. It will be written by those who demand clarity, by those who embrace efficiency, by those who insist on transparency and accountability in every operation. And above all, by those with the wisdom to integrate technology into their operations. Not as an afterthought, but as the foundation of resilience and growth. Because when excellence becomes our standard, we won't just transform an industry, we will redefine a nation. My brothers and sisters, let me be blunt. The future of Nigeria will not be decided by policies in Abuja. It will be decided in our boardrooms, our offices, our data rooms, and our oil fields. In the standards we either choose to accept or reject. If Nigerians abroad can surpass global excellence, then Nigerians at home cannot settle for less. and it begins with us in this room. So I implore you, don't ask when Nigeria will change, ask how we can be part of the change. Because Nigeria's brighter future will not come by chance. It begins now with these 3 promises you must make here today. Firstly, integrity must be powered by data. Every number must be accurate, every fact verifiable. Integrity is meaningless without trusted data to anchor it. Secondly, transparency must be gained through connected operations. Let's break the silos. Let technology unite strategy and execution, so we all see the same truth and move it with one singular purpose, as we should. And finally, our resilience must be built through agility. Do not rely on effort alone, but harness technology to build systems that adapt as fast as the world changes. When markets shift, when wells underperform or supply chains falter, let technology give you the agility to respond instantly without losing direction. True resilience is not about working harder. It is about being ready for anything. These 3, integrity, transparency, resilience, they are not just ideals. They are the foundations of the Nigeria we must build. And if you hold to them, if you make these promises your practice, then the result is certain. A nation where trust is restored, where decisions are swift, where challenges are met with strength, and where the future we dream of is no longer postponed, but finally begins today. Because when Nigerians refuse to settle, when we demand integrity in our data, transparency in our operations, and resilience in our systems, we won't just change this sector, we won't just change our nation, we will change the world. We are too many, too gifted, too relentless to remain invisible. So let us demand the best of our colleagues, of our companies, of our leaders, and most importantly, of ourselves. Because the question is not if Nigeria can rise, the question is whether we will rise to meet her potential. So let us refuse to manage, refuse to shrink, refuse to excuse mediocrity. For the day Nigerians decide that good enough is no longer good enough, that is the day the world will no longer ask if we can rise. It will ask how high we intend to go. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much. So PS. So while PS is coming up, let me just appreciate our naval people here. Thank you for your interest in NAPE. We appreciate you every time. And I want us to appreciate them again because without going to them, they requested for a booth, exhibition booth during our conference. So they will be exhibiting this year. You can see naval people exhibiting at, you can see, you know, it's, if they don't really love this association and associate with us, you know, that wouldn't be. Thank you very much for your interest in NAPE. Thank you.
Thank you. So we would continue with the announcements. Okay, so we have some series of information that we want to pass across to you. The first one is on technical business meeting, this time, I think from Abuja. So we're going all the way to Abuja for Abuja Young Professional Mentoring and Training Session. Okay, so it's a 3 breakout training session with facilitators and topics that we have displayed there. Now on our conference, we have the icebreaker essay challenge that is still ongoing. It's expected to end on the 30th of September. So if you're interested, you still have some time to send in your essay. Election, again, is still going on. we have for the office of the Vice President, 3 persons, Dr. Wilson Osong, F. Napi, Mr. Emmanuel Egbele, and Mr. Temitope Adilaja. For the office of President-elect, we have Dr. Anthony Ofoma, FNAP, FNMGS. And then Mr. Afolabi Fatumbi for the Office of University Assistance Program Chairman. Here, still on conference, we are now in the phase of registering using a higher fee. So the details is as listed on the flyer. Still take advantage of it because the next phase will be even higher, and that will be on-site registration. Short courses is out. Registration for our short courses, which is coming up November 8 to 9. It's ongoing, so if you are interested in participating, the fee for registration is as listed on the flyer. You can please reference it and register for the short course you're interested in. The next one is the upcoming golf tournament. So we are going to Uyo for this. We plan to be loud in Uyo as we have it displayed on the screen. So I think registration of interest is also ongoing for that. Please refer to the messages that we have sent out and the reminders that we'll keep sending out if you are interested in going to Uyo for this event. Okay, so this is not all actually. You will be seeing more information with regards to what is coming up and when as part of the conference. Opening ceremony, you will get some information on that. Pre-conference workshop, all of that is built up, and when we are ready, we would send you the information, the detailed information on that. I think that's it. Please, as a NAPE member, you're expected to pay your dues to participate in most of these juicy things that we have in offer, election and all of that. So please pay your registration fee, renew your fees, and then latch on to all of these exciting opportunities that we have in offer. So thank you, everyone. I'll hand over to PE for our closing remarks.
Thank you very much, PS. So now we are gradually getting to the end of this technical and business session. So thank you very much once again for making time out to attend our meeting today. And the thanks goes to people in this room and those who joined online. We appreciate your consistency. Since the beginning of the year, you've been participating, and I believe that you must have learned one or two things. So it is not over yet. We still have one more for this year, and that's next month, October. You'll see the announcement. And the sponsor for that is Aradel. So I look forward to having you all again at the meeting in October before we now move into the main thing for the year, which is our annual conference come November. Thank you very much. Stay back and enjoy the lunch. The PS will tell you more about the lunch. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, for our lunch, we have 2 serving points. Oh, 3? Oh, Okay, we have 3 7 points. Far left is for the expo and their sponsors and fellows. And then the other one on my left and right is for every other person. So please, bon appetit, enjoy yourself, and keep the network going. Thank you.
So our sponsors and the panelists, please, the sponsor wants to snap with us. No, you can go for your lunch. Let's have let's have that quickly. I think they want to have a picture. You can go for lunch. Let's quickly have the picture session. Then